welcome to the KVJ After the Show podcast.
Kevin's eyes look insane, but he's got new hair. Virginia is a witch, and she farts in her chair. Jason is a spaz who's got an old man's ass. Welcome to the After the Show podcast.
Alrighty, here we go. Welcome to the KVJ After the Show podcast. It's already a Wednesday, getting through it here. Gonna be the weekend before you know. We're just already discussing the weekend plans. Virginia, of course, is busy as usual.
It's got so much going on.
Running all around. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. You've got the Blues Brews. How do they, what's the...
On Saturday in tradition, it's the Burgers, Blues, and Brews.
Okay, yeah.
That's going to be fun.
That is cool. That's cool event. They do good stuff there.
On Friday, I'm helping to host the Maltz Jupiter Theater's dance competition.
Okay, all right.
On Thursday, I'm going to be at Palm Beach Gardens High, Jay Bird. I'm going to be at your old alma mater, helping them out with a project.
Well, you tell everyone I said, hell yeah. Give them a fuck yeah.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.
That's right.
No, don't say F yeah.
Go Gators. Yeah.
So you're going there now. You're speaking there?
They've got a project that I'm helping them out with. It's a fundraising, performative thing that they're doing on Thursday night.
I wonder if you go into the front area if our baseball trophy from when my team won the districts is still up there, because they used to have all that stuff there when you first would walk in. Do they still do that kind of stuff at schools?
It better be, or I'm turning around and leaving.
Because I always thought that was kind of neat when you could show off the things that the schools won throughout the years.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if they do that. I don't know if...
They better put respect on your team's name.
Respect on that name.
That's right.
1994, motherfucker.
They're like 94. Wow. My parents weren't even born in 94.
So you work with some old dick face, huh?
Somebody said that to me the other day. They were like, oh, yeah. My parents weren't even born then. I was like, what?
Wow, what?
Okay.
That's crazy.
We can't be talking like that.
No.
But it is true. There's a lot of KVJ Nationers whose parents are younger than us.
Anytime Kevin does that thing where you read off a list, this movie is 20 years old, and it's not really supposed to be 20 years old, but it is.
It's crazy, right? Yeah. I still don't even feel like I've gotten mature yet. I'm waiting for that to happen.
I don't know when it's going to happen, because at this point, like...
Just got to give up on it, I guess.
I'm regressing.
Yeah, right.
I'm turning into more of a maniac.
Mm-hmm.
Are your loved ones breathing? Yeah, a roof over your head?
Yeah, they'll be fine.
You go, girl.
Yeah. Well, we got a fun little thing after the show here today. The debut of Captain Crust, Jaybird's new superhero alter ego, who's going to be exhibiting the power of pizza, handing out pizzas, and this is just the first of many opportunities for Captain Crust to get out there.
Yeah, this is the inaugural Captain Crust outing. So, yeah, we're just getting our ducks in a row. I want to thank Twitter's Sarah, because she's coming out to photograph and video the whole thing for us. She's awesome. Alex and the whole team from A Beats, they've been slaving over the coal-fire pizza ovens all morning, making the pie hot and fresh.
It's really about the movement of bringing people together. I just think there's so much division. I know that even sounds corny, but there is a lot of division about everything. Motherfuckers arguing about everything.
I know.
Pizza will bring us together.
They'll argue about that, but let's at least try to break bread in peace. You know what I mean?
I do.
Eric had an idea for your name, Virginia, as his sidekick. He liked Sister Slice.
I don't hate that.
Sister Slice.
Sister Slice.
Not bad.
It's not bad.
Maybe we should do a KVJ poll and put it out there.
4 names, and then they'll vote, and whatever the highest one is, that's what you are.
And you could go around cutting people.
Oh.
I do
You
like
carry
it.
a knife, right?
Yeah, Sister Slice must have a knife.
I got nunchucks, and they're made out of garlic sticks.
You could have those little pizza cutters.
Yes.
Yeah.
The rolling one.
That's kind of like it's like your weapon.
Okay. Oh,
You better be careful about signing on to this, because I got a lot of ideas for Sister Slice.
Okay, people want to do a poll here. What is better, Sister Slice, or what was the pepperoni name?
Pepperoni Princess.
Okay.
Or Princess Pepperoni. Also, some people suggested Sausage Sucker.
No, we can't do that. Nah. We gotta keep this. We gotta keep this one clean. This one's for the kids, man.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're like, oh, what? Introducing her to the kids. The kids are like, what does that mean?
Snack pack's bad enough. Let Captain Crust need to be a little bit more pure and innocent.
Mm-hmm. If anybody's got any other suggestions, you can let us know.
You had one about the sauce.
There was, saucy.
Bossy, saucy.
I almost said something so inappropriate. I forgot. You're keeping this innocent, Bert.
Was it better or worse than sausage sucker?
It was on par.
It might have been Saucy Sister. Is that what it was?
Saucy sister.
Saucy sister. Okay.
Yeah, so you could go with that. All right, we'll throw that in there in the options, see what people like best for your name.
Sauce Slayer.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself, Jaybird.
I already put that in there. It's winning.
I have that on a T-shirt.
Oh, I know.
Mm-hmm. Early on, Princess Pepperoni's running away with it.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
That seemed to be the one that people likes the most.
The people have spoken.
I got to get a crown then. Some sort of little crown with pepperonis on it.
Yeah, that'd be good, yeah. It could be something regal.
I can reset the pepperonis every time we go out and then throughout the event, just eat them off my crown.
You could take pepperonis, too, and throw them people's eye. Boom. Blind them with your roni.
Just not the people we're there to serve.
No, I'm saying this is against the evil.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
When we're out fighting crime.
Yes.
Got it.
We were talking earlier about what you survived. Some tales more harrowing than others. But we were talking a little bit about the roof caving in of that nightclub in the Dominican Republic, and it was just one of those things where I'm like, my gosh, I don't know how anybody inside survived, but there were, apparently 100+ people that are injured, and I hope they all pull out okay from it. But yeah, that was just one of those things where that thing comes down, and it probably was worse in other places because when I looked at the footage of it, it looked like you had the AC units, which you've seen how big those are that were on the roof. Yeah, I mean, if that came down on top, I'd be probably not making it out there, but maybe another part where it didn't have something on top of the roof that came down on top of you. But just kind of crazy. That's just one of those things. And you think about all these now, unfortunately, there's just too many of them where somebody is, started popping off shots in a public square or just whatever that, I figured a lot of people would have stories, and a lot of people did.
Really?
Yeah, and there's just so many different ways you can go with it. I mean, it's not necessarily to be, depressing. You just to be like, oh, wow, that's pretty insane that, you survived that. And got one here from Arian who said, yeah, my mom was a bank teller in the early 80s at this bank in Palm Beach County. And there was this customer, Christopher Wilder was his name, and they ended up becoming friendly. And he would often hang out with her and her friends. She said he was quiet, seemingly normal. He had a lot of money, wasn't super flashy with it. And one day he came into her bank and he invited her on a trip to go to Daytona Beach. And she was already dating my dad at the time, so she politely declined, but had no idea that Christopher Wilder was a serial killer.
Prolific serial killer who killed people up and down the state of Florida. He met his demise trying to leave New York and got killed. And it's annoying because who knows what other bodies he might have been responsible for that he went on a big old frenzy of a murder spree.
Wow.
Over weeks to a point where my Aunt Ann used to work at this. It wasn't Sunfest. They called it, I think, American Heritage or some other event that was like a Sunfest. And I remember Christopher Wilder was murdering women up and down the coast, and my mom thought Aunt Ann was a victim because she was 3 hours late from working her shift.
Oh my God.
And that's all I heard about. Oh, it's Christopher Wilder. He got her. He got her. She's dead.
Not traumatizing at all for a young Jaybird.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, Christopher Wilder invites you on a trip. He's going to kill you.
He came from a shit ton of money. He was a rich boy.
Yeah, that's what she was saying, and that's why the connection was made at the bank.
His MO was he would go into malls and he would target young girls. We're talking young teenage girls, and he'd have a camera and say, I am a modeling agent, or I work for a modeling agency. Let me take your pictures. I'm going to sign you to a contract. I've got money. He'd lure them and then kill them.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so who knows what would happen if my mom would have taken that trip. Probably wouldn't end well.
He seemed to target the random people, but
Okay.
you're right. You don't know.
And Lena said, thank you for sharing your story about anxiety and panic attacks. Earlier in the year, this happened to me, and they prescribed adult Benadryl that takes the edge off or knocks you out heavy sleep, depending upon how much you take. I was using medical THC, and I stopped to pass a drug test, which ironically caused a panic attack. It is called hydroxyzine. They have two different kinds, one stronger than the other. They gave it to me in the ER and solved the panic attack. I keep it on hand just in case. It is non-narcotic or addictive, and that's, I guess, good to hear.
Yeah, because a lot of times they'll prescribe a Xanax or a Valium of sort, Klonopin, and that stuff is highly addictive.
Okay.
I'm not saying that there's not a place in the world for it, because there's some people that take it and they're able to use it, but you can lose your way on that stuff if you're not careful.
Yeah. I love the tincture stuff that I'm doing right now, because it just, you know what, it's you feel like you have maybe a beer where you're like, okay, you're not, I don't have that underlying anxiety, and I don't know if it's age or the job or what it is, but yeah, I've noticed I've had a lot more anxiety in the last probably a couple years.
There's a lot of reason to feel anxious. Also, the world's been set up to be anxious.
Right.
On-demand culture is going to make you anxious.
Yeah.
You need to practice patience, and if you're not practicing that, you're going to be anxious.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm doing all that mumbo-jumbo mind shit and breathings and all that kind of stuff, you know,
But you also have a lot of other shit
You
thrown
know
in.
too much. It's the human condition. The more you know, the more scared you are of this thing called life.
Yeah, I don't, you know, it's not that I walk around fearful of life. All it is for me is I just am always on the clock.
Yeah.
And you're like, I have deadlines.
And that's
it's
going
like,
to cause anxiety.
Right. And so that's what it is for me. It's just never over, you know, and I'm sure, you know, there's a lot of people that feel that way. And I just feel like our lives are getting so jammed with stuff. You know, if you're a parent, whatever job you might have, I don't know if anybody, it's not just feeling like they're always on the run.
Everyone's under pressure. I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
And it's just after time, I liken it to if you're redlining your car, you know, Virginia, if you have that thing pegged and it's like, you can tell that I feel like that's me, like nonstop. You're never downshifting. You're always running in the red.
You're pegging all the time.
And then eventually it just
Pegs
you.
you.
You do that to your car breaks down. I think same thing with your body.
And you get pegged.
Pegging.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
getting pegged left and right.
Yeah, I'm pegged.
Getting pegged to death over there.
Yeah,
Look at you.
that would be my superhero name, Peggy.
Are you
Peggy Pincushion.
Are you the villain?
Everybody's pegging him.
Do you take Captain Crust and peg him
I'm
with
not
a
getting,
calcium?
yeah, I don't know, because I think I'm getting pegged. So
You're
I think
definitely
I'm
getting
a victim. I'm a victim.
We have to save you.
We
Yeah.
You
do.
must save Peggy.
Yeah, I'm Peggy.
You're our Vicky Vale.
And don't ask why I'm walking funny. It's a long explanation. I can't say it around kids. Jeremy said, why can't Kevin drink alcohol on the regular show, but the other show members can? It's a dumb FCC rule because we are broadcast over the airwaves when we're on WRMF. That is over airwaves, and the FCC has a thing where they just don't want a bunch of drunk broadcasters. So it is a long-standing law that they have because it is a federal agency, the Federal Communications Commission, so you don't F around with them. And, yeah, if I am drinking alcohol, then that violates that. And so I could... You used to have to get a license back in the day. You don't now, but I probably would receive a fine.
He's the technical operator because he's over there pushing the buttons that make the broadcast go live. So the technical operator must be sober. The goofballs in the background can do whatever they want because we're not pushing any of the operational, functional buttons.
Yeah, Kevin has to hit the dump button for when we fuck up.
Yeah.
And he has to be sober for that.
And imagine if I were hammered, I'd be like going, yeah, that is fucking funny. Oh, shit, we're live. Yeah.
You're right.
I'd just sign off and be like, you know what? It was a great 26 years. Thank you guys so much for listening.
I'm going to go get pegged.
Yeah.
I'm
Peggy's out.
Peggy's going to go get some drinks.
Yeah.
Well, they're not under the crunch anymore to come up with content, Peggy.
Yeah,
That's
chill.
true.
Go to the Keys.
I'd be very relaxed the next day. Gotta tell you, this unemployment's very relaxing.
It's a couple of weeks of relaxing followed by a couple of months of pain and homelessness.
No, you're right. Absolutely. Yeah, that'd be tough. This is kind of interesting. We were talking about you can't make a crunch. We had some of the noisiest food possible, and we were trying to eat it without making a sound, which nobody did, and I didn't think they would, so we all got shocked. And Jesse said, yeah, I had American Sign Language. A teacher had told me the craziest thing is being at the deaf college, because all your students, they're trying to have snacks, and they think they're being so quiet, but they're opening their bags and they're all, so as you're teaching, they said, ironically, a lot of times deaf classes are the noisiest.
That's hilarious.
They have no perception of
They're like,
sound.
oh, well.
Yeah, so there you go. And I guess apparently they're not supposed to have food in their dorms, so they always bring their snacks to class so they can get them in there. So it's very noisy.
We believe in snacks.
Yeah, never would imagine that. And our dog trainer, Bailey, said you were talking about, is it cruel to change a dog's name after 7 years? And she said, I'm not sure what the exact number was, but it should be 0%. It's utterly ridiculous. Yeah, changing a dog's name is no less cruel than training a new command or trick, and will likely be significantly easier at that. Dogs don't actually understand what we're saying. They hear sounds coming from our mouths and associate with certain learned behaviors.
Oh.
Gosh, I wish I could have talked to Chewy, though. That would be so... If you had to talk to animals, I know I'm living in a fantasy world, but wouldn't that be so cool? Talking to an animal?
It would be.
When you film all those birds, you don't know what their names are. You could at least talk to them out in the golf course. you could ask them what species they are.
I could ask that one that tried to attack me what the hell his problem was.
No pictures, bro.
No pictures, bro, is right.
The thing that's crazy about that, if we had dog trainer Bailey in here, I remember the dogs that I had when I was a kid growing up, is they heard the word walk and they would start flipping out. And I'd like to hear the explanation for how they behave that way. In fact, we would try to say, be like, going, yeah, let's just maybe do this and we'll go walk and blah, blah, blah. And you could try to slide it coyly in a conversation and they would hear it. So we started spelling it. W-A-L-K. And then they got to the point where they could spell it. They would hear us say W-A-L-K. I mean, they would go so crazy. So what is that then if they don't understand language and kind of get that down? How is it that they were so responsive?
I feel like they know the word walk.
I do think animals, they communicate with one another, and I know there's animal experts out there, but is it possible even the animal experts don't know exactly everything about their communication? I see birds all the time. They're always in a pair. They're always talking back and forth to each other. They're clearly saying something. What is all that? What are they saying? Are they talking about food? Are they just letting you know there's predators down there? Are they talking about their favorite house they love watching?
Is one of them out there like, I've been here all morning. I got that worm, yo.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I got that real good worm. That stuff that makes you real woozy.
Yeah. I know on the other end of it, they have gotten to a point where they've really studied dogs' pitches and barks and growls and whimpers and all that kind of stuff. And they profiled several dogs, and they got to the point where they started figuring out different tones and barks and things like that meant different things. And it really wasn't more past the level of I want food, I want to go out, or, I want to eat. I mean, it was that basically was about it. They had like 3 things that they cared about.
They never think about, gosh, the moon, where did it come from?
They were like, hey, could you put on my favorite show? Or I really like that dog TV, or, What do you think? Scooby-Doo, would he smoke weed?
They have all of those YouTube channels where it's supposed to be great for your dog. You put the music on and it's supposed to either calm your dog or make your cat all chill. Is that a bunch of horse shit? Or does that really work? Is that just someone trying to get some views on YouTube?
I think all like humans, I think all animals are different. But yeah, there are things I've seen and talked to people that they put on certain shows, and the dog or cat or whatever will actually kind of watch and pay attention, or they do seem to have a music that they like more. So yeah, I think there are tendencies to all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it seemed like my old dog Chewy was very particular to ragtime music.
Okay.
Probably because you forced it on him. We know you're particular to ragtime.
Oh, that dog had an old soul, Virginia.
And Barry said, I've been listening since 2000. I don't think I've ever heard how y'all picked your kids' names. I like hearing baby name origin stories. Yeah, with Colin and Caitlin, that actually was my mother-in-law's dental office. They kind of kicked around the names, and so they're the ones that came up with that. But they kind of wanted to keep the same consonant because, we knew they were going to be twins. And then, yeah, and then, we did the same thing with Cannon. So we were looking for a name like that. My wife actually came up with Cannon. We were just spitballing names that we thought sounded cool, and we wanted something that was a little bit different.
Cannon sounds tough.
Yeah, and we just liked the way that it sounded. And so we kind of went with that. But yeah, we had all kinds of weird names, I remember at the time, that we were thinking about. And thank God that, we wound up with Cannon. I still like that name.
I remember you guys are thinking about Ballston or Alston.
Ballston.
Gotta be something, huh? Poor kid.
Ballston.
The kid with the large nards.
Your name is Ballston.
Yeah. And Magnolia, I know that was based off the magnolia tree that was in your backyard growing up as a kid in your house in New Orleans?
Yep, exactly. And then Rocco, come to find out, is named after a porn star.
An Italian porn star that your husband liked watching.
Yes, I didn't know that when I gave birth to him.
Right.
It's something else. It's something else.
Yeah, about that. And Lachlan, do you know the Lachlan story?
Denny's?
Yeah. I forget how Lachlan came about. And then on top of it, too, the spelling. Because, Lachlan's one of those where they do what? Lochlan?
Yes.
You could do Lock. There's a lot of different ways that you could have gone with that spelling.
You could do double L's in the beginning. The first L silent.
The first L silent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's because a lot of our ancestry is Irish. But we did I guess it would be the American spelling of it just because we figured it'd be tough. I think the original spelling's Loughin.
Oh.
I just feel like there was nobody who was going to know how to spell that. And it was just going to confuse everyone.
Okay.
So we did Lochlan. Before that, we were thinking about the name Fennec, like the fox, or even Fenick, like Fennick. Those were the kind of the names we were bouncing around.
That's a cool name. I like that.
Because we landed on Sly for the middle name, which is a music artist that I like who passed away, Tony Sly. And also,
It wasn't for the Family Stone?
No.
For Stallone?
And we went with Sly because we were going to do Fennec, which is a fox, and then we decided against that, but we still thought it was kind of cool. It would be Fennec Sly, but we did Lachlan Sly instead.
Oh.
Very cool.
So,
I love that. That's a cool name. Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm happy with Lachlan. We tried it out. I mean, I'm sure a lot of parents do this, but we tried it out for a while, just saying the name before she gave birth, just to kind of see if that was something we liked. And as we said Fennec, we kind of landed more on Lachlan. I thought it was a more regular name.
It's good. Strong name.
You thought Fennec might be. These fucking parents think they're so cool.
That's what I was. I was afraid of that. Or you just never. You try to think of all the filters of what kids are gonna say too in school.
When sometimes too, it's so tough to spell that. And luckily, I'm a Kevin, so it's so basic that nobody ever misspells that name. But I'm wondering how frustrating that would be your entire life if your name is always spelled wrong.
It would probably drive you insane, right?
Oh, I'm sure Virginia's gotten Virginia so many times in your life. Virginia Sinicki.
A lot.
Mm-hmm.
Virginia's rough as a kid. Hey, Virginia. Harry Virginia.
I heard it a lot. Still hearing it today.
Yeah. Taking her back. Taking her back. Yeah.
So much Virginia.
And Christina said, it's so funny to hear Jaybird's take on the Snow White movie versus what I see online. I'm a good bit younger than all of you, and I'm also not conservative at all. And the only content that I have seen around the movie Snow White are the clips of Gal Gadot's terrible acting. This led me down a really fun rabbit hole of some of Gal's worst lines delivered. For the most part, I heard that Rachel's singing was actually the only redeeming quality of the movie. The only place I heard about her political views was from the KVJ show, and I spent an embarrassing amount of time online. To be fair, the other bit of drama I heard about this movie was around Peter Dinklage being upset about how they handled the Doors a few years ago. I think it's very interesting to see how our algorithms confirm our views, and I think it's a good reminder that you are seeing on the internet isn't necessarily the majority opinion.
No, I mean, just look at the reviews and just look at I'm telling you, I'm not just making this up because of an algorithm. Disney had to seriously go fly in and sit down and talk to her. I mean, I'm not making that up. It's got nothing to do with political views or algorithms. Yep. There's a fuck ton of bad press revolving around this movie, whether what side you lean on in any kind of realm.
Well, your algorithm, too, is going to be very celeb-centric because you look at a lot of those type of stories for the show as well.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, when it comes to that, there's not a lot of people defending the Snow White movie. They're just not.
And what I had seen on it myself, it was the news stories about it and the promotion of it. And these were just coming from like your TMZs and things like that. And I think it was on a TMZ or People magazine that it covered where it was I think the producer's son that wrote he wrote the op-ed about how his dad had to go and fly to Europe to kind of scold her and be like, hey, like, what are you doing with your press stuff? Like, can we not, you're doing some very polarizing statements here that we're afraid you might turn off half of the audience.
Yeah, that's got nothing to do with algorithm. That's a straight up story that really happened. No, and I even said that Zegler, as far as her singing and her acting in it, that wasn't the problem. I think people didn't like the storyline, and I don't think they liked her press junket. I think it just came down to that. But, I mean, that's in a lot of algorithms.
Yeah, I think she's very talented. I mean, I just saw today she was singing Joni Mitchell's A Case of You on Instagram, and like it sounds good.
See a mouth like yours, see me alive. See me your devils and your deeds, and she said.
So she's a very talented singer, very talented girl. And look, she's young? She's 23, and so probably, if anything, she's kind of getting into the game. And maybe it's something where she learned, hey, there's probably a time and place for these things. And look, she wants to talk about her own feelings and her politics about it. She can probably do it. She'll probably just in the future, I would hope, just kind of keep it separate from the press junkets about a certain event because it immediately attaches to that.
And keep in mind, too, it wasn't just her that, I mean, the email's partly right when Peter Dinklage also, this thing has been cursed from day one. And it lost all of that money.
Right.
So clearly there's something bigger going on than political stuff and algorithms.
Yeah, but you are right. I mean, I think that is part of what does happen. Is that, you can get into an algorithm. And that's one thing I do try to be mindful of, because on my own personal Twitter, I will do the political stuff on that. And I try to, anytime I follow somebody and I know they have a certain leaning, I try to follow somebody on the opposite side so that my algorithm is not just all one-sided stuff. Because you're right, I think people do need to be aware of that you can get a biased perspective of the world and think it's all one way just because of how your social media looks and realize you did that. You're hanging in that circle. Got an email from Shannon. She said, I think you guys might like the Happy Face on Paramount Plus. Happy Face. I've not heard of Happy Face.
Happy Face.
I don't know what that might be. But there are a couple other things out there that I have heard about. There's a couple other shows. There is a hit UK series called Adolescence that they say is like the new hotness on Netflix. It's climbing the rankings, clocking an impressive 114 million views in just 24 days. Already securing the 4th spot on the streaming services list of most popular English language series. Has anybody heard of Adolescence?
No.
On Netflix? Haven't heard of that either.
Just when I was going through puberty. Thanks, Danny.
They say the second place with 12 million views is Gone Girls, the Long Island serial killer.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet. That one's,
That's the recent case, right?
It
the guy,
is.
the Gilgo Beach
It is.
guy. Okay. And then Pulse is on there. And then Devil May Cry. I think I saw something today on South Florida social media, somebody was showing the beginning of Pulse, and they were kind of laughing because there's a South Florida reference, but there was a soccer mom that was trying to get her kid to his game while a hurricane was going on. They're like, who's driving their kid to a soccer game when we got a hurricane? Like, who thought that would be realistic? So that's Pulse, I think. That's what I saw on the. I'm like, I had never heard of Pulse either. I'm not sure the last time I plugged into Netflix. I feel like I'm unplugged from what's going on with that.
Come on over. Let's watch some stuff.
I don't even know what there is to watch. I don't know if I want to watch any of this stuff.
I'll get all your favorite snacks. I'll get some ice.
Okay. You're buying me tequila, you said. So
I'll get some
that'll
tequila,
get me there.
Tequila.
some ice, raisins.
They'll peg you.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
Come on
It's
over,
going to be a
Peggy.
good time. It's going to be a real good time. We got a full day planned.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, that's all good. All right, well, I know Captain Crust has got to get himself all ready to go. We got to go see some kids.
Was he here today? I missed him.
Oh, yeah, you
Yeah.
didn't see him in the hall?
I did not. Dang it. I missed out. Miss Super Pie. Miss
Oh,
Captain
you guys
Crust.
would have crossed paths. I
Yeah.
can't believe you missed
I
him.
saw him and Super Pie. They're making out in the hall.
Who gets pegged in that duo?
Oh, okay. Super Pie's getting pegged.
Yeah, that might be going on right now, actually. We got to go check and break that up. All right, y'all have a good one. We'll see you back here tomorrow.